Now that I've finished talking about 6 of the girls in the 7 shadows, all that's left now is the last member of the group, Ita the Shadin mad scientist. So similar to my previous videos, I'll be covering her overall story throughout the series along with some of her skills, talents and abilities. As usual, this video will contain spoilers for not just Ita's character but the Eminence in Shadow series as well, so a spoiler warning just in case. And if you want more character breakdown videos like this, don't forget to give it a like and maybe consider subscribing to the channel as well.
なんか弱そうな感じで。
弱そうですか。でしたらこの男はどうでしょう。
To start, who exactly is Ita? While little is known about her, but it was possible that she came from a wealthy or high society background given her exceptional intelligence. However, her life took a dramatic turn when she became afflicted with demon possession, a condition that often leads to persecution by society. Despite her intellect, Ita found herself cast out from her homeland, but she was eventually found by a young psychopath by the name of Zeta who managed to cure her demon possession. Afterwards, she was offered a place to stay within Shadow Garden, and wanting to learn about the truth of the world and acquire the otherworldly knowledge possessed by the young boy, she accepted the offer. Thus, she took on the new name of Ita, becoming the 7th member to join and the last member of the 7 shadows, the original 7 that first followed Shadow. Now, due to her sluggish nature and the fact that she suffers from a chronic sleeping disorder, she was considered to be the 2nd weakest member in the organization, being slightly better than Gamma in terms of combat abilities. Also, Ita only cares about acquiring knowledge from Sid, so she has little interest in fighting or activities related to the Cult of Diablos, but she still puts in the effort to at least learn some combat techniques from her master. That's why on the rare occasion that she does join in combat missions, she can at least keep up a good pace with the other girls. So in terms of her swordsmanship, her skills are minor and she tends to neglect her practice due to a lack of interest in combat. However, her proficiency in magic is quite exceptional, maybe not at the level of Epsilon, but it was decent enough that she could freely manipulate the slime bodysuit created by a master with ease. In fact, she was even responsible for researching and developing the capabilities of the slime bodysuit. That said, even though Ita seems to be a more intellectual type character, but in the spin-off anime Kagejitsu, when Delta accidentally breaks an artifact created by Ita, she apparently brought out a massive hammer weighing over 100 tons, using it to punish Delta for a mistake. Despite being played for comedic effect, it does imply that she possesses some level of physical strength that is at least on par with that of a Tyrian trope. In any case, while Ita's combat abilities may not be her strongest trait, she more than makes up for it with her exceptional intelligence. In fact, Ita is widely regarded as one of the smartest members of Shadow Garden, surpassing even Gamma, another highly intelligent member of the organization, although their areas of expertise differ vastly. Ita is an expert in the fields of science and architecture, possessing knowledge of advanced technologies and engineering that she learned from studying and also from her master Sid, whereas Gamma is more accustomed to strategic thinking or subjects related to business. But anyways, Ita actually participated in an active combat mission when Sid's sister Claire Kageno was kidnapped by Viscount Oba, a member of the cult. She would join Alpha and the others to attack the Viscount's hideout, wiping out all the enemy forces inside, but the Viscount managed to escape. However, the Viscount was eventually defeated by Sid, and with that, Claire was rescued. So afterwards, Ita would join the others in leaving Sid for 2 years in order to expand the strength of Shadow Garden so that they can better fight against the cult. Their organization would undergo a restructuring period to make their operations more efficient, and due to her exceptional intelligence and scientific knowledge, Ita would be made the head of research and development. Her main responsibility was to create advanced weapons and tools based on the shadow wisdom she acquired from her master, as well as to create new forms of magic that could improve the combat capabilities and effectiveness of their members. She was also involved in the research of demon possession to understand the cause of the affliction and the effects it had on the victims. And although she wasn't interested in the cult, she still worked on uncovering their beliefs and practices so that Shadow Garden can find more effective methods to counteract their influence. Now, during the early years of Shadow Garden, they initially operated from the abandoned village that Sid found Alpha in, so Ita did not have the proper equipment and space needed to conduct her research. So Alpha tasked Zeta to search for a new base of operations, and they'll discover the ancient capital of Alexandria, which was hidden deep within the Abyss Woods. After dealing with the Mist Dragon, they finally moved to Alexandria, and Ita's expertise in architecture and engineering was put to use in the construction and rebuilding of the base facilities. One of the facilities was a new defense system and she was helped by Lambda, but due to her impatience and desire to get the construction done quickly, she skipped the final approval from Alpha and proceeded with the construction. Despite this, Ita managed to complete the project in just 2 days through the use of slime manipulation. She was basically inspired by Sid's teachings to create a large arena with 7 separate compartments to house each of the 7 shadows, and intruders will have to fight them all in a knockout system. Only after defeating all the 7 shadows could they finally face the ultimate final boss, which would obviously be their master Sid. But aside from research and development, Ita also assisted Gamma in running the internal affairs and management of the city Alexandria and some aspects of Shadow Garden as well. That's why she has access to the finances of the organization, and most of the time, she would overspend much of their capital on various projects without even consulting Gamma, the head of finance. This often frustrated Gamma, who constantly scolded Ita for reckless spending, but Ita simply ignores her because she seems to enjoy being difficult with Gamma just for the sake of it. Nevertheless, Gamma understands the importance of Ita's work and how it can benefit Shadow Garden and provide significant contributions to the Mitsugoshi Company in the long run. That's why she could still tolerate Ita's reckless spending. Furthermore, Ita was responsible for designing and overseeing the construction of the very first Mitsugoshi branch in the Midgard Kingdom, and the innovative layout for the store was based on the concept of shopping malls that she had learned about from her master Sid. It also seems that Ita adopted the public persona known as Ita Lloyd Wright, the mysterious architect behind the innovative designs of Mitsugoshi, and in the future, she will handle all the construction and designs for other Mitsugoshi buildings as well. Having said that, if Ita wasn't doing architectural work, she mainly spends time in her own lab back in Alexandria to invent and reverse engineer things for Shadow Garden. And when she became interested in certain projects, she would be fully immersed in her work to the point of losing track of time and shutting herself inside a lab for days or even weeks. Because of this, she often neglects most basic needs like sleep or hygiene, and her living space was always a chaotic mess. So to make sure that Ita takes care of her health, Alpha assigned Mama Epsilon to take care of her. Basically, Epsilon will always bring food to Ita while making sure she gets enough rest, and sometimes Epsilon even helps her freshen up. Also, when Ita becomes too disconnected and goes into autopilot mode, Epsilon is still patient with her because she is probably one of the few individuals capable of handling Ita's idiosyncrasies. And the reason Epsilon is so patient with Ita is because of her admiration for Ita's dedication to research and her passion for uncovering the mysteries of the world. That's why whenever Ita completes a research project, Epsilon will always behave like a proud mom. For example, when Ita created a remote control cart powered by magic, Epsilon was the one that gathered Alpha and the other girls to celebrate Ita's new invention. As for some of the other inventions that she created, here are some examples. For starters, she helped create an instant camera for information gathering, and it was in use when Epsilon's team was investigating the sanctuary in the Holy Land of Limworm. In the anime, it was also implied that Ita was developing the internal combustion engine and automobiles that uses fossil fuels because the Mitsugoshi Company was surveying areas for oil reserves. Additionally, Ita helped Zeta to create a portable fryer that uses magic to heat and control cooking oil safely. Also, Epsilon had asked Ita to create a magic piano capable of soothing people, but she misunderstood the meaning and created the fluctuating piano that puts people to sleep instead. Another notable creation was magic gears, tools that enhances the abilities of the wielder and compensates for the skills they lack. However, the effectiveness of the magic gears was not as high for individuals who were already powerful to begin with. She also created various types of golems that were used as training dummies and defense sentries. On a side note, she doesn't just invent tools to be used by Shadow Garden, she also helps in the development of food items like creating alcoholic chocolates or new sandwich flavors for Gamma's Tuna King restaurant. So after spending 2 years away from Sid, Shadow Garden finally made their grand appearance during the kidnapping of Princess Alexa Midgar, an event in which most of the Seven Shadow participated with the exception of Ita and Zeta. It should be noted that Ita doesn't make many appearances in the light novel either, at least up to Volume 4, other than being briefly mentioned. However, in the anime adaptation, she has a few more notable moments. For example, during the Bushin Festival, Ita was seen helping Gamma prepare a disguise for their master, using a machine that creates a removable facial mold. After completing the task, she was wheeled off on a box dolly by a Mitsugoshi employee. Furthermore, in episode 20 of the anime, Ita was seen using Morse code that she learned from Sid, which means that she even established a coded covert communication network across the continent. Interestingly enough, the code spells out "to be continued," which is a nice Easter egg considering season 2 of the Eminence in Shadow has been announced. But continuing on, Ita was briefly mentioned by Beta during the Great Trade Alliance conflict, and following the disappearance of Delta, she was given an encrypted message written by Sid in Japanese. Although the language was completely foreign to her, Ita was able to easily decipher the message, revealing Sid's true intentions for betraying Shadow Garden and the location of his hidden gold. This event serves as a great testament to Ita's exceptional intelligence, but also her overall proficiency in code breaking and ability to comprehend different languages. Now let's move on to talk about her official appearance in Volume 5 of the light novel. Basically, she was dragged to the Oriana Kingdom by Gamma in order to report about her research on the otherworld items brought back by Beta. Apparently, Ita was also warned by Alpha not to perform any questionable experiments on Nishino Akane, the girl that Beta had kidnapped from Japan. But regardless, that was the only few notable appearances of Ita in the light novel, but in the spin-off anime Kagejutsu, she had a much more significant presence as a character, and we'll just have to wait for future volumes of the light novel to find out more about her. So before I end the video, why was Ita considered to be a mad scientist? While she seems to have little regard for the well-being of others and is willing to sacrifice people for the sake of her research and development, she lacks the capacity for empathy and is often seen using her fellow Shadow Garden members for experiments, especially Beta, who was her preferred subject. For example, she would often secretly drug Beta in order to elicit emotional reactions from her. Also, in an attempt to dissect the brains of her master, she once tried using aphrodisiacs on Sid, but when it failed, she resorted to using poison so potent that it could even kill a dragon. Luckily, Sid was built different, so Ita eventually gave up trying to experiment on him. However, that wasn't all because she once almost killed Gamma when she needed someone to test her magic gears and golems for combat data collection. And despite knowing Gamma's combat capabilities, Ita still unleashed an overwhelming number of golems on Gamma with little concern for her safety. Luckily, she survived. Although Ita has been reprimanded a few times by Alpha and she is often punished by having her research funding reduced. But anyways, this disregard for people really shows that she is more focused on her goals than on ethical considerations. That's why in the research diary written by Ita in Volume 5, it's implied that she might know about Zeta's plan to resurrect the Demon Diablos, but it seems like she hasn't reported it to Alpha and doesn't really care about the morality of it as long as it doesn't affect her research. That said, although she may not always act in the best interest of her fellow members, I think her intelligence and talents are quite important for Shadow Garden, and I personally do think her character is somewhat intriguing, but at this point we still lack some information about her, so I can't say for sure. Also, I really enjoy seeing her interactions with Mama Epsilon. But hey, is she a contender for Best Girl or Best Mad Scientist? I'll leave the decision up to you guys.
ホトトギス君、イプシロンをお風呂に突っ込め。
Now that was all the information on Ita's character so far, and we finally finished with the 7 shadows. Hopefully I managed to give you some insight on her character and what you think of her overall. And feel free to share your thoughts down below and let me know if you want me to break down the other characters from the Eminence in Shadow as well. Also, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button as well, it really helps. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe everyone.